For nearly 3 years, I worked as the night caretaker of a small stone church on the outskirts of town. It was older than most buildings around it and rarely used except for Sunday mornings and funerals. My job was simple: lock the doors, turn off the lights, and make sure nothing was disturbed. The church's most noticeable feature was the statues. They lined the walls and altar saints, angels, and figures whose names I never bothered to learn. All of them were carved from pale stone, worn smooth by time. Their faces were calm and expressionless, like they were frozen in eternal prayer. At least, that's how I remembered them. One Tuesday night, as I was shutting off the last row of candles, something felt wrong. I glanced at the statue closest to the altar, St. Peter, I think, and noticed his face looked tense. His eyebrows seemed slightly lowered, his lips pressed together as if holding back words. I stood there for a long moment, convincing myself it was the candlelight playing tricks on my eyes. The next night, I noticed another change. One of the angel statues along the side wall looked angry. Its eyes seemed sharper, the corners of its mouth turned downward. I walked closer, examining the stone for cracks or damage, but it was perfectly smooth. That night, I took a picture on my phone. When I checked the photo, the statue looked normal again, peaceful and blank, no trace of anger. I laughed it off, blaming exhaustion, but the changes kept happening. Every night, different statues wore different expressions. Some looked sad, others fearful. One looked like it was silently screaming, its mouth just barely open. The worst part was that the expressions never appeared in photographs or videos, only when seen with my own eyes. I stopped staying late after that. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that the statues were reacting to something or someone. One evening, I arrived early and noticed something that made my stomach tighten. Several statues were no longer facing forward. Their heads were turned just slightly toward the center aisle, toward where I usually stood. I reported it to the priest, who dismissed it calmly. He told me the church had been renovated many times over the centuries, and that some of the statues were mounted loosely. That explanation didn't explain why their positions changed only at night. A week later, I forgot my keys inside the church and had to return after midnight. The building felt heavier than usual, the silence thick enough to press against my ears. I unlocked the door and stepped inside, leaving it open behind me. Relieved, I walked toward the sacristy to grab my keys. That's when the old grandfather clock near the altar began to chime. 12 slow strikes. With each chime, I heard a faint scraping sound. Stone against stone. I turned around. Every statue's face had changed. They were smiling, not peaceful smiles, wide, knowing ones. Their eyes no longer looked empty. They were focused on me. I backed toward the door, my heart pounding, when I realized something worse. They weren't just watching, they were waiting. I ran. The next morning, the priest found the church unlocked, the lights still on. When he asked why I quit without notice, I didn't answer. I just know one thing for sure. Those statues don't change their expressions randomly. They're reacting to whoever is alone with them at night.